Okay, we're gonna watch a video. I did this the day before yesterday in preparation for this class. And what I did um, is the lady looking out the window. And I said to myself, what could I do in an hour and a half? So you're gonna see it's slightly over an hour and a half. And I whittled it down and went through fast speed and got it down to 15 minutes. It's actually looks a lot better that way. So let me tee it up. I'll start it. And hopefully there's no volume to it. So I'm going to talk a little bit during it. There we go. Everybody see that? Let me highlight myself. Okay. So first I'm putting a backwash down. I'm using a little yellow, the crimson color, and it's very, very wet. Probably maybe 10 to 15% color at the most. Then I go in and I've established the first dark value. And I'm not using black except over the eyelash and inside the eyes. I think the only place I'm using what would be considered black. I do have a little blue and black on the eye. Now, what's funny about this, well, not funny, I think I attempted 3 times to get these eyes right. I finally got it, but I kept looking at the reference photo and it just seem right. Now, actually, I'm fairly close there, but I'll come back and erase them. The paper I'm using is Fabriano Artistico, which has the capability of lifting very easily. So that was probably a good thing for this painting. And it's looks like it is 300 pounds. No, it's not. It's Arches. Never mind. It's Arches. Here I was bragging about it as if, as if they were going to pay me for an advertisement. The colors I've chosen is to go a little bit, not so many bright colors and oranges in this. I stick with closer to the reference photo. And that means there's more burnt sienna than magenta in a lot of this. And on the yellow side, it's got a little yellow burnt sienna. And I think under the eyes, I even used the crimson and some burnt umber. So anyway, I'm painting like crazy here. Using a number, looks like about a number 2 or 1 small brush. And I am really painting just the shapes. I'll pick a shape out and paint it. So I painted the chin, I'm painting the shape underneath the eye. I'm just about due to erase the eye again, or one more time, first time. You can see the palette, that has the crimson, and I've added some violet to it to give that deep, dark color. And that's in the hair, I have violet and burnt umber. And it's definitely on the blue side. Now, as it comes over, it turns a little bit more creamy or opal color, maybe, I guess maybe not, egg color, eggshell. I just go a little bit more toward the burnt umber. So those are just shapes I'm putting in. most of the technique is I lay down some paint in the areas I think I need them, and I just move them around and soften the edges as I need. So lay some paint, and then manipulate that paint, uh, and shifting. If I shift the colors, I'll add the color on the paper. So she's starting to come to life. It's an interesting subject, not really easy because of the skin tones. I all during this, I kept wanting to, oh, let's brighten this up and let's go with some oranges and some wild colors. But she looks it's very moody, and sticking with something more bland just makes it more moody. And I even decided to kind of match the color of her blouse to her complexion to make it even more dramatic as sad. There's no brightness in her blouse. It looks like, I'm not sure if it's sad, but just very, to me, it looks like she was looking off into space, and I don't think she was happy. But at least that's how I read it. So those really influence the colors. I put some of the background in here. And when you do that, it really gives you a better idea whether you have the values right, especially next to that brightest area. And I'm painting the hair. I've done a lot of negative painting. In other words, painting the insides of the shape, or the outsides of the shape, and leaving the shapes I'm after white. That's called reverse painting. So pretty much now I'm really working on the values. Now, the hands were not easy on this. I debated quite a bit about how to do this. I decided that less was more, not put so many, exactly the colors and the freckles that were on her hand. I just left that off. I really was hoping, because of the composition, most of the lines, like with her hand, point toward her eyes. That hand just, an arm bring you straight up and into the eyes, which is the focal point, which was another problem I had, is that I just couldn't get the eyes right. I finally got them, but you can see I'm tinkering with them quite a bit. And they have a slight bluish tinge to them. Yeah, I think this is where okay. Now I'm adjusting there's quite a few values as I look at it, thinking, areas I want a little darker. On the left side, I want it darker only because I want to emphasize the drastic contrast of the light hitting the side of her face. And it adds to the drama. Now, this is my first try, and that's what I kind of do the first time I do one, is I do it pretty fast. The next one I'll slow down. I'll probably do this again, and this time I'll be a little more careful. I don't know if that's the word, careful, but take my time a little bit more. But actually, it came out okay. Sometimes I do more than one. The first one comes out better than the other one. I think I've mentioned that to you before. I've resisted been sitting here watching, or I've got this painting done, and I've been wanting to touch it up, but I've resisted, and I'll show that to you what I want to touch up. So the hair is not done. What I decided with the hair is to come back with opaque white and opaque gray on the hair and add those features and not use transparent. It's just the The hairstyle I thought was pretty important. Lots of gray. I can use the opaque to lighten that one area that I probably got too dark. So a lot of time was spent in getting the veins and the wrinkles. I did not overdo the wrinkles on the cheek. I think I wanted just enough. If I did overdo the wrinkles on the cheek, I was afraid that all the attention would go there. I still am hoping, and you can decide for yourself, that the painting really is about the eyes. And her eyes, it's almost an expressionless look outside. So I'll do a little more of that background. It really pops. I went with a total black background. And I'll soften up some of those edges when I do the opaque white. And this will have to dry a little bit. Now I'm doing the blouse. I put the lightest, it's fairly dark. I put a slight opera color to it, but I pulled some of this out. I wanted it close to her skin color to totally de-emphasize it. It was a big risk. But I thought, just playing anyway, and you can decide for yourself whether it accomplished the fact that I don't want you looking just at the blouse. It should be a supporting subject or a supporting object.
What is that color you're putting on now?
That's crimson and violet. And that paint right there is lots of violet. It's a combination of violet and crimson. So the violet turns it really dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I did get a kick out of these colors when you see it. Hopefully when you see it now that it's dry, there are some slight changes in the overall look of it. And some of that color on the face is, to me, almost dirty, meaning it's blah, and that's exactly what I wanted. I'll show you the palette I put together before I painted this. So then the blouse is just basically following the reference photo and adjusting and just doing one shape at a time. I think I'll come back again on that shadow again. I decided to pay no emphasis hardly at all. You'll see that the arm down below, probably I could have just cropped that. It's not a player in this painting. But it's still there. You'll see how I treat it. So I'm trying to get those folds right. Yeah, then what I do is I suggest there's a sleeve. I think that's about all I do to the arm. Now I'm getting ready to do the opaque. Oh no, I got a few more values to work on. And I put a few little touches in there to suggest a few little wrinkles in the material. Those are just a couple little small shapes. Didn't do them all, just enough to suggest there's a little wrinkle in there. Make a little adjustment here. I looked at the reference photo and thought that cheek came over a little bit more. And I finish up the eyes, I think. Yes, I'm finished with them. And anyway, I'm satisfied with the eyes now. What's funny was painting this, I kept thinking, oh man, this is not right. Okay, now I use opaque watercolor, white, opaque white watercolor paint. It's not a gouache, well, actually, it's watercolor gouache. That's what it is. See, I lighten up that area up there, and because it's watercolor based, the paint will soak through it. And so if there's something of it under that's colorful, it'll come through a little bit. So the skin color came through a little bit through that white I put in. Okay, now I'm back adjusting some more of the values. And okay, questions?
Tell us again why you decided to go with the crimson rather than what looks to me more like burnt sienna on her cheek.
I didn't catch all that. Say that again.
Can you hear me?
I could hear you.
Okay. Tell me again why you decided to go with the crimson on her cheek rather
Oh.
than what looks to me like burnt sienna.
Uh-huh. Well, that's an excellent question. If I were to do it again, I would probably go more toward the brownish color. But I think it has more to do with this color I came up with is not really a crimson. It's a really dirty red. And that's what I wanted to do. I'll show you the, let's go. There we go. So here's the finished piece. And yeah, color choice is a big deal. So I put together, I planned it out, and I decided on this, and I'll show you a little bit how I went about doing it. We're going to do it again do it together. So that's the reason. I just decided a dirty pink. I thought you know what I really thought? I'll tell you the truth. The picture reminded me of my mother. And it's not a really kind time in her life. She was dying of heart disease. And that's very much how she looked. And I think in my mind, I didn't want to go with the brown. It just reminded me too much of death. It probably would have been way over. Now the monitor, it's interesting about the monitor, it's much pinker than what it is in real life.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you're right.
Yep. But however, it is crimson. So that's the long answer. I don't have time for the short one.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? So I de-emphasized many marks on the hand, and the wrinkles here, I will downplay if I do it again. I just thought brought a little bit too much attention to this area. But this is my first draft. So anyway, I wanted to do it in front of a camera, so and then talk about it while I was doing it. So anyway, do all of you have one ready to paint? And it's not easy, but it will be manageable if we take one shape at a time. And you'll see it'll come together. This will be one of those that you're really going to have to pay close attention to the reference photo. Ad-libbing might not give you what you want. Let's see if I can adjust this thing. I can adjust it, not too much. Okay, so everybody ready?
Yep.
Yes.
I guess ready as you ever be. I think this will be a lot of fun. I say that because I guess enjoy inflicting pain or something. I don't know. All right. So the first thing is we're going to do a color sheet. So if you just get a piece of watercolor paper, it doesn't have to, just scraps fine. And what we'll do is we'll select our paints and see if we can match them up. So the first thing is, let me clean my palette out. Which are not what we want. Got a little bit of red in that green there. I'm gonna check that out while I'm hanging out. So the colors we'll be using, we're gonna try with, the basic. And what I like to do is to see if we can match for this activity, match as much as possible the reference photo. That'll give us a little bit of a challenge. You've seen me always change it up. And let's see if we can get close to what this is. Okay, so the first thing is, I'm going to read this. If you have your reference photo, this has a little, the white, gray hair, white hair, gray, but this has a little tinge of a yellowish or egg shade to it. So I'm going to keep that in mind. And over here, however you get over here, it's almost a little bit bluish on this side. So the hair will be a kind of a challenge for us. What I think we'll do, if you have opaque paint, I'm not going to worry about the detail of those hairs that are coming across her, well, kind of like a sideburn. And then over here, I see a little bit of yellowish, especially the difference in color of her hand and her face. This looks very yellowish, not yellow, but yellowish. And we might even try to paint in some of those bruises. I'm going to show you, I'm going to attempt that and see if we can kind of get that effect. I think after looking at it, I think that might even tell something about the story. Those veins, just a little bit about the story. Now, so let's pick some colors. Let me get this out of the way so I don't put paint all over it. So the first thing to do is I'll start off, it looks like it all has a slight yellowish tint. So I'll start off with the lemon yellow. It could be the Winsor yellow. Windsor yellow is semi-transparent, I believe, and a lemon yellow is transparent, I think. And let's go with a little bit of Indian yellow. And let's then go to, I'm going to try this. Let's see if, I think I'm going to go to burnt umber, not burnt sienna. It has a different tone to it. And we'll find out in a second. Okay, so we'll test these colors. Let's do, so right at the end, what I'll do is I'll paint a little bit of that and see if that matches up. I'll first start off with the lightest color. No, it doesn't. That has more pink in it, doesn't it? If I lighten this up, that doesn't match. So I'll go over, I'm going to use the Opera Rose and see if that's too pink. Ooh, that's actually pretty close there. That's very close, at least from my camera or my look. It's got a little touch of Opera Rose. I would not use crimson because crimson tends to be just a slight bit of blue. And I wouldn't use red. There's too much, but at least I'll show you. That's a whole lot closer. So let's write those down. started off with lemon yellow. Then we did put, don't think it's important, but I'm going to write it down, Indian yellow. And then burnt umber. And then after we found out that didn't have the rosy pink color, so we added rose, opera rose. I think it's opera rose or rose opera. So together, it got us that. So here's the question then. If I look at those colors that are about 10%, one way of making the value darker is just increasing the pigment. So let's take those same pigments and go more toward 80% pigment. So let me get the yellow in here. Get lots of pigment, lots of burnt sienna. So we'll get it very dark.
I thought it was burnt umber.
Yeah, it's burnt umber. I said burnt sienna, but I did put burnt umber in. Burnt umber. You know, it's almost like it's burnt umber without anything else. And let's see. Yeah, if I look at it, it's pretty close. Look at that. And probably to get that, that's the darkest I can get it. So last resort, we use blue or violet. I'll use a little bit of violet to make it darker. And let's see if we get, ooh, that's pretty close. Huh. Glad we did this. For me, that's a close color. And then when it gets down here, right in here, that same color needs some pink. Right in here, see that? It's that same color, but needs some pink. Oh, so that's kind of a surprise to me, but I like it. So we're going to use burnt umber down here. How many of you have used burnt umber on faces? I think it's going to be a close match. And all we'll need to do is touch it up with a little opera rose. Are you guys testing this out? See what you think on your end, on your paper? So then on the nose, I'm going to stay with that same theme. And to me, it looks like it's definitely a red a rose opera. I'm going to see if, so there's the rose opera. And just soften that up. And that's the color of that nose right there. I know you got a reflection here. See that nose? That's pretty close to that tint. I'm still liking that. Okay. So yeah, this is quite interesting. May not be interesting to you, but this is half my battle is just continually playing with and trying it. So what we found out that burnt umber works really good. If we want to get a little life to it, we add just a little bit of that rose opera. It's just enough to make it look alive. So that's what we're going to stick with the skin tones. This color works really good over here. Look at that on her hand. That's really close. So what do you guys think? I see doubters.
My colors don't always look like yours.
What's that?
My colors don't always look like yours.
Yeah, it's the
When-
monitor,
Oh,
but we'll find out. What you'll do is you may want to play with it and try something different to get something to match it. You're using Winsor Newton?
Yep,
Okay, it's probably the same. It's just the monitor, depends on what monitor you're using, and of course, the camera has its own opinion of what it wants to look like. So let's go up to the hair. And the hair is definitely the blue. Now, what's interesting, does your photograph look like it has a little blue or even turquoise or something in it?
A little blue.
Yeah, definitely some blue. Anyway, we'll
Yeah.
take that to account.
Yeah, it looks almost turquoise.
Uh-huh. Okay, so what we'll do to stay consistent, we'll make a black using ultramarine blue. And we'll mix that with burnt umber. We're going to use burnt umber just so that there's a consistency of some of the colors across the entire painting. And that should produce a black. And I'm going to see, yeah, that's a black. And I can turn it a little bit blue by adding a little more ultramarine. There it is. Lighten that up for you. You can see that turns a little blue. I don't know if you can see it on your. See that slight blue tinge to it. So at the top, it's pretty much a direct mix of burnt umber and ultramarine. And if I want it to be that blue, a little bit of that blue touch on the left side. Now, I'm not really sure yet. We're going to want to do that. Now, what I want to do is see what that color looks like when it's gray or almost white, if it's close to it. And it is. It's a nice version of the grays in here. It's on my end, it's a very nice version. Now, where it turns a little bit eggshell or creamy, I'm thinking that I'm going to put just a touch of burnt umber in there. I don't know. I haven't done that before, but I'm looking at it. Just a little bit of burnt umber. See if yeah, it does. It turns it kind of a creamy color. So that's the gray. See the gray at the top, and then as it comes down, it's close to this color right here.
Yeah, Brad,
Yeah,
tell me what you used for the gray.
okay. It was the ultramarine blue
Okay,
and the burnt umber, and make sure it doesn't look bluish. And then have it so it's almost 90% water or 80% water. So just take a touch of that. So that swatch right there is probably 10% or 15% color in there. Then I added a touch more and moved it, instead of it to the blue, I moved it to the burnt umber by adding just a little more burnt umber. So those colors are going to stay nice and consistent. So everything on our head is going to be ultramarine blue and burnt umber, no other colors.
all right, thank you.
Let me write that down. So we started with ultramarine blue, burnt umber, UMB, ooh, save that one, burnt umber. And then, so with 90% water, we get this. And if we have it more toward this color, it's the gray. If we add a little more burnt umber, it turns cream color. So this will be on the video. So that's why I did this, so you can see it. And it's really drying really nice. Let's see this color here. Look at that. That's really close. I hadn't really thought about that before. I might have used burnt sienna, but I think burnt sienna's got it moves a little bit toward the red. It wouldn't have worked. Burnt umber. How about that?
Rocks.
Okay, the eyes will be, we're going to use burnt umber and ultramarine blue for the eyes. So what we'll do is we'll lay down, and what we'll do is we'll probably have it just a little bit more toward the blue. So there would be the background of the eye. It's a little bit more toward the blue. So we start off with kind of that in the back of the eye. And then we'll darken it with any of the combinations up above. We won't use it. There's no, well, actually, it could be a little cream in there, but it's all, that whole eye tends to be just a little bit toward the blue side. And then we'll use the black made from ultramarine blue burnt umber. Okay, any questions? So that's what we'll work on today. In the ears, it's a dark, I'm looking at this, a dark red right in there. So I think that's just going to be the burnt umber. It'll be this, but 100% of, or 90% of the pigment. Okay. All right. Any questions? You got this little cheat sheet ready?
Yep,
So when in doubt, we'll get it out. Oh, man, should have been a wrapper. All righty, I can't wait. Can you? I know, Rob, you're thinking, oh my God.
It's a lot of color mixing.
Yep, really not a lot of different colors though. Look at your palette, very few colors. All right, so what I'm proposing that we do is not do the backwash first. In other words, wet it all down and then apply the light tint. What I'm thinking we're going to do is we're going to straight toward, I'm just trying to mix it up. We've done that before, haven't we? Started with a wash on the face first.
yes,
Okay. Let's really get an opportunity to mix some colors. And I've already got mine mixed on the palette, but anytime that you want to refer back to the sheet, let me know. So we're going to use, what we're going to do is we're going to go around the eyes. We're going to use this real dark burnt umber with a touch of violet. I'm going to see how that looks. Okay, so burnt umber I have
Rob?
right here. Yeah,
When you apply this first wash, are you including the hand or just the face?
I would have done all of it. Yeah, hands, face, and neck. Are you doing that?
I will now.
Are you doing a wash?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's all do a wash then. You guys all want to do a wash?
Yep.
Do you have a hair dryer? If not, well, I know you have a hair dryer, Rob.
Somewhere around here.
Yeah. I'm gonna use a mop, about a number 10 mop. And what I'm gonna use is lots of water. I'm gonna take paint that's in my palette. See that? Got lots of water. And I'm gonna be careful not to get too much up here. I'm gonna suggest some streaks. Look at this. I don't want to get too much color right in here, but I'll start right here. Now I'm going to use that, the tones that we talked about. That's that lemon yellow, Indian yellow, burnt umber. If you probably could just use burnt umber, but I really like that. It's very, very close to what I see here. I'm not going to paint her eyeballs. And when I get down to the nose, I'm just going to put a touch of the opera in there. Now keep it very light. Don't let it get too dark because you can always make it darker. I guess you guys know that, don't you? You can always make it darker. And when I get to the ear, I'm going to put a little opera rose in there too. So I want to save a little white around the eyes. And I'm going to just go on down the hands, or the one hand. There's two hands. We'll do both of them. And I'm just keeping this very, lots of water and not letting it dry. I'm going to go up and do the ear, put a little rose in there. Hey, Rosie. Okay, a little rose up here. Keeping it very light, lots of water, come down. I'm gonna do her all over her hands. Yeah, if you don't work too fast, it'll dry on you and you'll get blossoms. So you have to work fairly quick. That goes, oh, it goes right along here. I just look closer at the neckline. So I keep coming back, not wanting those edges to dry on me. And it's a pretty bland color. So yours should look something like that. Very light. Yeah, see, I left some white up here. I didn't want to have to deal with that later because there's no pink in that hair up here. So if I put some pink in there, I would have had a problem I would have had to fix. I'm gonna get some fresh water real quick. If not, I'm gonna dirty up some of this.
Ron, should we get a hair dryer if we have one?
All right, clean water. Ooh, Something about clean water and clean palate is nice. All right. So how we doing?
Should we get a hair dryer?
Only if it's, mine's pretty dry right now. If it's still wet, especially, we're gonna work around the eyes. If it's dry around their eyes, you're okay.
No, I have to get a hair dryer.
Okay. When in doubt, dry it out. I'm rhyming today. Did you hear that, Rob?
I heard it.
Rhyming. I'm gonna,
I,
you and
I,
I.
I wonder if that's what the dogs say to each other. I'm gonna go get a quick drink of water.
Probably. They probably heard the water running and think it was theirs. Ugh. Yeah, you and I gotta start a rap group maybe. Okay, when we do these eyes, we're gonna really take our time. They're gonna be detailed because they are the focal point. And going to use, if you have a size 0 or a double lot brush, it probably would come in handy. Yeah, you can always make lines larger. It's hard to make them smaller once they're on. Pull some of this paint off my palette. I always end up on after the wash with way too much water in the palette, and then it messes me up. By the way, I did spill the water all over me on the way in, so I feel quite cool here. I still can't get over the expression on her face. I just liking it. So our challenge is if we can capture those eyes and that expression. You know, I know what you think. See inside her eye right here. It looks almost very, very dirty. And since we have decided to copy the reference point, we may use now, Rob, hold on to your seat. Jennifer, we may use a little violet or blue here.
Ooh,
Don't get excited. We may, right there. We might, just so we match up, see if we can match that up. Okay, everybody ready? Wendy, you ready? Deb, I can't see you, but I'm assuming that you're ready and wound up over there.
Ron, what color are you using for the dark part of her eye?
Okay, so let's get down our color scheme. I think what we'll do is we're going to use this color right here. Basically, I think we're going to use burnt umber and rose opera in the darks. Now we may add a touch of color to it of red if we need it, of the opera, but we're not going to use any crimson on this. We're going to be rebels today. Okay, so we're going to use that. So that's basically burnt umber and rose opera. It has a tinge of Indian yellow in it. And you don't really need to do the lemon yellow now I think about it because of the lemon yellow, because we're the Indian. So anyway, I'm just going to make up a little bit of, oh, there it is, burnt umber. I have because we're going to do that. I'll do it and you guys watch. So it's a pretty dark brown. And you know what? I do see a little red in there. I'm going to add some opera to that. A little more burnt umber. Okay, it's a reddish brown. Let's see what, okay, everybody watch for a second. I'm doing this shape right here. Up in the upper part of her eyelid where it goes back in the socket. So I'm going to do that. I use the side of my brush and I do that. It spreads the paint out differently. So I'm going to go across. Here we go. And then it goes down over here. I'm looking, if you notice, I'm looking very close at this. All right, I got that in place. Now I'm going to just, with a damp brush, I'm going to pull some of that out. And what I'm looking for is see if I have enough, I don't have enough red. I'm going to add a little bit of ochre in there as I pull it. Yeah, see that? That's what I want right there. And that's the shape I'm doing. See how it's darker on one side?
Ron, can you get closer to your paper? It's hard.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Uh,
Yeah, we're getting close now. I'll adjust it here in a second. There we go. Now it looks really pink in this picture. I don't like that. So I'm looking, I'm going to change that. It's too pink. So I'm just going to go over it with some of that burnt sienna. And so it'll dilute that a little bit. So I'm still working on that shape. And there it is. That's the shape I want. Then I'll come back after that dries. So I'm reading. I know all of you are reading right now. That goes like that. You know, sometimes when your hand goes down, some reason it misses the spot. And I know none of you have had that problem. And then what I'm going to use, if you can get a fine line, if you can't, don't do it. But this fine line is going to be more black. I'm going to use burnt umber and blue. And it's I'm going to get out my double lot brush. I have brand new double lot brushes. Winsor Newton. You know they're got to be good for Winsor Newton, right? So anyway, right across here, a very fine line. Look how fine my line is. Can you see that?
That's a fine line.
Are you guys impressed? Yeah. Yeah, there's a fine line between good art and this. So anyway,
And Ron, what color are you using there? Is that the,
it's basically black with burnt umber. And because the eyelash has black in it, usually, even if you have a gray person, their eyelashes are black. So if you got yourselves, now it looks a little funky close up, but actually I like the tones. I think it's going to work. I'm looking here. I'm thinking I'm going to put a little, yeah, I'm going to put a little, I didn't put much Indian yellow in that. And I'm going to add a little bit of that while it's still wet. So I added a little Indian yellow to that. I think it will dry quite a bit lighter. And that's just something you find out over time. Then underneath the eye, that little shadow, it's a slight shadow that shows, it's very important, it shows the, right here at the bottom, that, there we go, that little line right here. It's not, it's kind of rough. And so I'll see if I can mimic that. I want to leave a line between there and there, so it's going to go down like this. And I'm using that same color, but I added a little more rose to this. I might even add more rose. Has more rows in it. It's just the same as those other colors, but not much pigment, a lot of water. Then I spread that out over here, trying to mimic there. That's the look I was wanting right here. See how that kind of went across? Then I soften that edge right there. I'm still debating in my mind whether I'm going to like this burnt umber, but I'm going to stick with it for a while. We can always adjust it with a glaze. That one line go a little heavy on this side, so I'm just going to use some of that paint for that little triangle on the edge of her eye. I'm just pulling some of that black over. There we go. You look at it this closed up, it's like, oh man, this isn't going to be anything. This is terrible. But I know better, I think. Then inside her eyes, see if you guys see this. It's got a real, and again, we're not going to do this kind of detail with everything, but I want to get something pretty red. I'm going to stick with my Rose Opera, and right inside this eye, it's really deep. So if you see what I'm doing, I'm just mimicking that little shape I see there.
What color are you using?
It's Rose Opera with a little bit of that black I had, or the brown burnt umber I had, but it's mostly Rose Opera. The burnt umber makes it a little darker. So I'm just mimicking that little shape there. Doesn't have to be perfect, obviously, because when we step back from this is, again, what watercolors do is give us that impression. So that's kind of the shape I see. You can say, well, Ron, that's not very well painted. Wait till you back up and see this stuff. We just stay true to the shapes. So that's probably just enough. I might go over that just a little bit now. I see it. I just want that to come back over here. The shape wasn't quite right. It goes back to here. And I'm just going to suggest some looseness here. And that works. And the eye, we're going to do a wash on the eyeball, on the iris. It's going to be, where's my color chart? It's going to be ultramarine blue and burnt umber. And it's going to be close to this, maybe just a touch more deeper in color, higher value. Okay, so there's my ultramarine blue, my burnt umber. I want it to be a little bit on the blue side. And I'm going to mix that up. Lots of water in it. Carefully. Everybody heard carefully, right? I'm going to paint that. That's just exactly what I wanted. When the plan comes together, it's pretty exciting. And I'm going to leave a highlight here right on one side. See the white highlight? I'm just going to leave that. It's not like the photograph, but I think that would help. We don't always have to follow this photograph. Come on, guys. Got a little carried away on this bottom. I'll just soften that up.
What color is that eye again, Ron?
That's ultramarine blue and burnt umber, but it's more on the blue side. It's got a lot of water in it.
Okay.
Lots of water. And I put I put the highlight over here, but you can put it, you can put it like the photo if you want. Here we said we were gonna try to follow the photo, and guess who's first one to screw that up? Okay, so I'm gonna do the other side. One side is almost white. It's gonna pretty delicate work here. But this is the only area I'm gonna really focus on getting it, the detail right. I think that might be it. I don't know. I don't know. It's the wrong shape. I don't want to disappoint anyone by not going over this a few times. Okay, it's very gray. It's bluish gray is the color, Rob. So we went more toward the bluish gray.
Yeah, that's what I got.
What's that?
I have that bluish gray
Good.
with lots of water.
I'm going to put this little line up here, another fold. It goes kind of across here, and it's just quite a bit of water in it. And it's not a line that's necessary. But if you can do it, it would make it even more realistic. That little line. And then I need to just get this a little lighter. I'm just gonna lift a little bit of that right here, just with some water. Yeah. There we go. So we're gonna, in a second, we're gonna see if we're getting close to this. We're all gonna step back from our painting. Then over on this side, I've got that rose opera with just a little bit of the burnt umber in it. And I'm going to pick up this shape right here. It's a hard edge against the nose. So I start there and come over. Hard edge. And then I'm going to do the indent. Are all of you caught up?
I think so.
Yeah, probably some of you are done with the painting. Okay, I'm painting this shape right in the socket of the top of the eye. It's very dark where it goes into the socket. I'm going to change that. What I used there was burnt umber with a touch of ultramarine to get it really dark. Then I'm going to just soften that up just a little bit. And I'll have to come back again. There we go. Just a little bit of, needs to be lighter. And I'll come back to that and give it its next line. So the next piece, whenever you're ready, let me know, is going to be a lot of fun. You say, yeah, you said that before. No, I mean it this time. Now I'm gonna put that little line in there and now it's dry. Just a suggestion that there's another little line, too dark. Just a suggestion. And now I'm gonna round out the eye socket on her left eye. It's rounded right here. I wanted me to make that look rounded. So I'm gonna put that shape in place first. There it is. Then I'm gonna graduate it. Yes, I said graduate. I'm gonna gradate it too. And soften it so it looks like, there it is, it's soft. So it looks like it is rounded contour. Might just soften that up a little more. I'm gonna put the iris in. The iris will be 100% ultramarine blue. Although it's much as dark as I can get it with burnt umber. And it's just a dot. I just want to see if I can make the dot. Usually I always end up making the dot a little bit too big. Let's see how that looks. We may have to go back and do some adjustments to the. Yeah, I think that'll work pretty. I think it'll work. I think it will. So really, we're sticking with these same colors. And hopefully it pays off. I'm coming back, put another layer on here. And soften. Give that contour shape. Put a shadow here. So let's give it a 15 feet, the 15 feet look. See if we can go back from this 15 feet. See if it's looking like anything yet. Oh boy, go back far enough, it really looks nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. See? That's gonna work. I've got some adjustments to make on the values, but it's too early to get too, until I get some of those other values. Here's what I'm thinking. This value right here on above the eye, that probably should be lighter. So I'm just going to put some water on there. Let that set for a minute. Then I'm going to lift that off because that should be a little bit lighter than that. And I'll zoom it back in here in a second. So I'm going to lift that off, see, pulling that off, lightening it. And that's much better. So we can adjust, see, that's much better. So adjusting the values. Anybody want to show theirs? Is there anybody who doesn't want to show?
Yeah, Ron, I'll put it up.
Okay.
This is an example of when the colors get away from you here. Let's see.
Wow, I like the colors. I'm not, what did happen over on her left eye? You went to a different color.
That's what I mean.
Okay, all right. Her right eye is beautiful. Dead on the money there.
Okay.
Put the iris in there, that's gonna look pretty real. That's nice.
All right. Time for an iris.
Yeah, well, 1 out of 2 eyes, not bad.
I think it's my same situation. I don't mix up enough of
Yep.
the colors.
Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, just making sure. Any else? Anybody else?
All right, I have 2 different eyes too.
All right. Oh, you're just trying to copy. Oh, that's beautiful. No, not really. It's
The one
beautiful.
is too yellow.
Yeah, that's just beautiful. It's a beautiful eye.
Oh,
Very
okay.
nice. Yep. Just stay consistent with the colors and you're good. Oh, Deb, here we go, Deb. Are you ready for this? Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Nicely done. Nicely done. She got both eyes the same color, so she's just showing off.
Sorry. I was trying, but I didn't quite get it right.
But Ron, who is it that has different eye colors? Is
Oh,
it
you're
dog?
right. There's some famous people. Wendy, very beautiful. Very nice. The shape, check your shape underneath her right eye and see if it's a little more red than that or rosy. Probably depends on your photograph. Okay, we're ready to move on. We are on a roll. We got almost 2 eyes done today.
Woohoo.
Woo. Wait till I tell everybody, what'd you do today? 2 eyes? Well, they'll say, well, you didn't overdo it, did you? Okay. All right, so I like that little yellow you put in there, Jennifer. I like it.
Oh, good.
That's kind of stepping out, but that's okay. I like that. We're gonna do the, we're gonna go inside the nose a little more. There is a shape. See if we can, see if we're gonna be able to capture it. Didn't take me too long to lose my remote control, but that's probably better. Well, I get a kick out of it. As it dries a little more, it does change a little bit. And I'm just going to fix a couple things while it's fixable. One is that little red spot here. Needs to be a little deeper. Just a little bit too. There we go. Soften that up a little bit. And I also want it. Yeah, that's fine for now. And I'm gonna make the inside of this eye is a little bit darker. It's a shadow being cast from her eye, so it's gonna be darker in here. And also this side of her eye is darker than that. So I'm just gonna darken it up a little bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna get a little bigger brush. I'm gonna be a rebel and go all the way up to 3 here. Up to a 3. And I'm going to put a wash. So the first thing is make sure I get my colors right. Bird umber. I'm gonna go ahead and use that Indian yellow. Bird umber. And what else did we say? Yeah, and a little rose opera. Bird umber. Okay. All right, we'll see if that's dark enough. And we'll see if it's the tone I want. I'm still debating whether to make the inside of that eye look like it is there, black and blue. So I lay some color in place. It's 50-50 paint. And I'm just looking, it's got quite a bit of paint in it. And I'm just going to see if I can mimic that shape I see there. And I'm making room for the wrinkle. So I'm just putting the paint in place now. I'm going to come back in a minute and move it around. Okay, so I take a clean brush. I'm going to kind of move that around a little bit. And here it's still darker. Do a little bit of this up here. Soften up the edges. I'm gonna mix it right on here. I'm gonna just put a little bit of red there.
Are we having?
Too much. But I'm gonna lift it anyway, so it's fine. So what I have is some shapes, and I really had to look pretty close for this to get these right. Just softening up this little shape up here. It's a little bit too dark. And here it's going to be a little lighter. Yeah, there we go. It's going to suggest a shape there. I'm just staying with my same colors.
Ron, what was the lighter wash that you put above her left eye?
This right here, this burnt sienna with a touch of rose.
No, on her forehead.
Oh, I just spread out some of that up here. And I just made sure it would match one of the wrinkle lines. I had extra. So what I did is I wanted to soften this edge. So while I had it there, I pulled it up. I just used some of the paint that was here. And I'm using the same paint over here too. And while this is wet, I'm going to put some lines across here. Because when I do it while it's wet, if I do it while it's wet, it'll stay very soft. In the eyebrow, I'm going to put some black blue in while it's wet. And it'll be very soft and subtle. While that was wet, I put that in there. And this is, let that spread out a little bit so it mimics the eyebrow. So it's a little bit black. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait till that dries. This is one of those colors or techniques you never know what it's going to look like until after it dries. And I can soften that up after it dries. I need to soften up a couple of the edges here, just enough to suggest that they're part of the wrinkles. Get that value right. Just a little bit darker than that, right in there. So really pay attention to the shapes. And even though you may say, well, that doesn't look quite right, get the shape right. And then we'll step back from it and see if we got it right. And 9 times out of 10, if you really focused on the shapes, what happens is that we evaluate these shapes in the wrong light, the wrong angle, the wrong viewpoint. We're looking at very close. And that's not how we do watercolor painting. It doesn't lend itself to that scrutiny up close. Now, unless you are, I take a caveat, there are those, and they win lots of prizes too, those who do photographic. It's almost looking like seeing a photograph. So yeah, that's what mine's looking like. Looks a little bit like her so far. The general colors are good. I am seeing a little more rose, but I'm going to wait till after I have this on and add some a rose wash over most of it. And I think I like the eyebrow just about the way it is. I don't think I'm going to touch that anymore. I like the way it kind of flowed. Most of that's an accident. And some of my best painting is accidents. Going to adjust the value over here. Wrong color. This side is just a little more rosy.
Can you bring us in just a little closer, Ron?
Yep. It just gives away my brush strokes too much.
I know, I'm
There we go.
sorry.
So it's still staying with all the same colors. I didn't make any changes there. Adjusting the angle of my table, maybe less a glare. Now I'm going to do a little, just adjusting some of these values here over on this side of their eye. I'm just going to watch. I'm just looking at my reference photo. See if I can get what I see here. I left that light right in there. And there's just a little more color on that side. I'm going to soften up this white spot. So I'll soften that up a little bit. Still there. Now I'm gonna go under the nose. Anybody want to do under the nose?
Sure.
Did a little touch up on these eyes over here. Looking pretty decent. Yeah, that'll work. It needs to be a little more. I'm gonna put a little more pink in that later, but not now. Okay, underneath the nose is going to be crimson. The right place we're going to use that. Crimson and a little violet. It's the only spot, and we may use it on the blouse. We haven't decided on colors down there yet. We got some major decisions to make yet. All right, so
Just
Lots
slide
of-
your,
lots of painting here. What's that?
slide your painting up just a tad, if you would. Please, sir.
I'm sorry.
Slide your painting up just a bit, please.
Oh, yeah. 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 I wear hearing aids, but I've been known to have selective hearing sometimes.
I get it.
There we go. That's the area we're looking at now. So it's violet and crimson or magenta, whichever you have. I'm just going to pick up this shape underneath the nose. And I'm going to move this paint around a little bit. First, I got to look at my line. My head may be in the way, but I'll move it here. I'm just going to paint this line. It's a sharp edge where the nose stops. And just going to pull that down like this. So that's the general shape. I'm going to go back to my burnt umber and Indian yellow or yellow in there. And I'm going to go and pull that down with this color. So watch this. I put that on there. And now I'm going to cross that. It softens up that red I just put on. I'm just trying to mimic what I see here. There it is. Don't forget there might be some, at this point I go ahead and maybe suggest some of those wrinkles here with the line because I have it. There it is. That's it. Okay, bring it on down like that. And then I'm gonna go back with a little more of that red, put it under here. It just doesn't look right with black. Some people will use black under the nose and it just never looks right. I got a little drop up here of color. I'm gonna clean that off. Then I'm gonna bring that on around for the shadow on her hand. So soften that up. And then I'm just going to, here's where the edge of the hand is. So there's some of these shapes I'm putting in here I'm going to use later, and this kind of emphasizes the wrinkle. And I got to put an edge here on this hand. I'm going to wait till that to dry. I'm gonna go up with a little of that magenta and as the color I see, this little dark spot where the hand creates a shadow, just a small shadow there. It's a very important shape. And then I soften that side up a little bit. There we go. That's kind of the shape that we have. And some of that shadow comes down to define a nose. Just soften up the edge up here a little bit. That'll work. So now we'll shape the nose a little bit while we're here at this line. So I'm going to draw, this has got lots of rows in it. I'm going to let it come down beyond here, below the nose. But I'm going to use this paint. I'm going to put where I see most of the paint's going to be. And then I'm going to come back and soften up and move that paint around where I want it.
It's got some magenta in it.
It's magenta.
Yeah.
I am going to put just a little bit of that brown color, burnt sienna. So I come back and I soften up those edges, watching, and looking very close at my reference photo and just bringing up a very small value. This, Rob, is a very, Rob, if you're there, this
Yes.
is a very light value. And I'm going to leave, oops, there I got. I just laid in a whole bunch of water by error. I'm going to have to do that again. But you still, I pushed it aside. I accidentally forgot to touch my towel and get rid of the extra water. But I just wanted to show you what happens when you do that, I'm sure. This got a little rose in it and still some other color. While it's still wet, that's going to work out nice. I don't like that color or the value. There, it's better. Using that dark brown right here to distinguish that hand shadow.
What is the color that you have right under her nose?
I have a, it's that same Burt's umber with some magenta in it. Oh, I put a little blue violet in there at the first, but I end up covering it most of that up. There we go. Huh, dog hair, where that came from? All right, we'll see if we got a little bit too rosy. Oh, oh, that looks okay. Yeah. So what I did is, instead of going in and fixing it, I stepped back a little bit, and I'm liking a lot of the values there. I've still got to fix the bottom of the nose. But I'm glad I didn't mess with it. I was just very tempted to make some changes, and I think it's really starting to come together what I want. And I just really want to make sure those eyes are right and everything around the eyes, because everything I'm going to try to just kind of point it up. Now, at a distance, I want you to see what I do here with the nose. I need to get some more of that burnt umber in here. There we go. I'm going to, while it's still wet, I'm going to apply some of that right here and here. And that's the general shape. And then I just soften it up. And when you do this, this is when this nose really comes to life. You say, well, a nose comes to life? Yes, it does. So. I want you to see how this really changes the whole dynamic of the nose.
Gives it a lot of dimension.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gotten used to you guys. We're meeting way too much now. I think you're rubbing off on me.
Uh-oh.
It wouldn't be me, you know.
You're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think so. And soften this up a little bit. But look at the difference of the nose once you start getting some of these values right. It just makes all the difference in the world. I keep those soft. See the difference of the nose now, once I put the other value in? It's a little bit lighter here. Okay, let's take a look at yours. You've watched mine enough. Let's take a look at yours.
Okay, Ron, here you go.
Okay, here we go. Whoa. Oh, I like it already.
I can't see it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Back up a little bit.
Yeah. Way back.
You know, you're getting your values right. Color is still a little off. I think you're using some blues in there.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
I'm sure you would never use blue on skin. However, what a difference when you get the values right. I love that little streak that you came along the side that can be worked with. Actually, I like the fact you're going a little darker and you're mixing up your values more. You've got more lights and darks. That's cool.
Okay.
Very
Right.
nice.
Thanks.
Yeah. Rembrandt would be proud of you. Who's next?
I'll go next.
All right, Deb.
I haven't done my under the nose part
Oh, I like it. I like it. Just a couple of little spots. There's a white. Don't forget, there's a light on her eyelid, on her right eyelid and left.
Yeah,
eyelid.
I
So you
lift
can
that
lift, yeah, lift that out because it's
Yep.
gotten too dark. You need to get that lighter. Other than that, it's looking quite nice.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. And okay, we have Wendy. Oh my, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Very, very nice.
I did it, the area over her eyebrow was too wet for me to add the color, and I forgot
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
I
You'll let
forgot
it
what.
dry. Yeah, I think that's wise move. Jennifer. I love it. I love it. Just a little bit too much, which will, when we get to other values, I'm not even gonna say anything. Because we get to the values, the eyes are nicely done. Very nice, emotional eyes. And when we start getting those other values, they're gonna pop up. There's a couple values we'll adjust, but not, it's too early to do that. Nicely done, beautiful. Well, you all just shocked the heck out of me, man. You did great. Oh, I'm just kidding. I knew you'd do great. Okay, let's get a little feedback. How did it go today?
Nice pace, Ron.
Okay, you were
Yeah,
okay.
I liked it. I thought it went well.
I liked planning the colors in advance. I don't often do that.
I think that's a wise comment there. If we all can remember it. Too often, I just want to get in and start painting, But a little planning, it really helped. Now, we might make adjustments along the way. There's lots of adjustments we make, but we're getting to, and we keep focusing, and like you're doing, focusing, getting those shapes right. You can get the colors wrong, but if you got the shapes and values right, it is amazing how good it looks. It's just amazing. So next week, what we're going to do, we have 5 minutes left. I'm going to do a little more painting with you. Next week, we're going to pick up where we left off.
Sounds good.
And I really would like for you not to paint on this until we meet again.
Okay.
And do all of you have another one you're working on?
I have a question about mine.
Sure.
Okay, I did Michael Clark. I really don't like the background.
Well, let me highlight that more. Wait just a second. Oh, I'm going to remove mine. Here we go. All right, that does it. So what do you don't like about it?
It's too bright.
What,
I'm
tell me what's
afraid
too, what is too bright?
The background.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to put any detail like that little green you have there next to his right side.
Yeah, I was trying to be creative.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, your eye goes over there, unless you want the eye to go there. The face is beautifully done. The hair, the lines on some of the hair needs to be softened to soften up some of those lines. It'll make a huge difference. I would just, I would go back with, I would not use green. Green, I would move that toward a dark blue. Because the blue against the flesh would look better. And you can do that. You can shift it to blue. And just make sure there's maybe at least 50-50 paint, maybe 60 paint and 40 water.
All
And
right.
just take your time and start at the top, keep it at an angle and go down.
Okay, I'll try it.
I think it would make a big difference. I really do. The face is very nicely done.
Thank you.
Probably one of your best paintings. Very nice. Proud of you.
I guess I learned something.
Well, what a concept. Oh my, look at this.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I messed up her shirt. I got a lot of blossoms. I don't know how to fix it, or should I just leave it the way it is?
I'd leave it the way it is. It's loose. If you touch it up, what's going to happen? You'll put some detail in there, and your eye's going to go over there. Right now, the only thing I would try to do is fix the dark spot under her chin. That looks like it's not consistent. I would make that bluer. See her right chin, or right, yeah, her right chin, that black spot.
What
the other chin, underneath the chin, down, underneath the chin, down further, further, there, you got it. That spot right there.
Oh,
Make that
that's her hair.
out. It does, it looks too dark. What you
Lift,
do is
lift some of it?
you can forget about the hair and paint it blue and make it look like the shirt. There's a shadow there.
Okay,
I'm trying to think what I did on that one. I think I left, well, of course, I won't find it right now. I'm looking down at a drawer and there's gotta be at least 60 pieces of painting. there.
well, here's the photo, it's hair.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's like the photo. Hold the painting up next to the photo. Yeah, I just think the shape is a little different. That's what you need. See the shape of the hair?
Right, it's
You don't
got
have a
straight,
kind of a larger shape and no values of the hair. I would just, you could what you could do is soften up the edges of the top of that shape. Just soften that up and it'll be perfect.
okay,
I'm just looking there. It may be because of the light spot underneath that block. See how light it is, that white spot underneath the hair?
right, so maybe
Yeah.
it's darker
Yeah.
blue.
Because that makes that look darker. And we wouldn't expect to see that much light from the dark side of her body. But before I forget, it's beautifully done. I like the way you did the background. It's gorgeous. The eyes are nailed. I like the reflection. Wrinkles dead on. Teeth, you didn't get too white. I can't say enough good about it, except for that one spot.
Okay,
I like it. I like it a lot. Wow.
Yeah.
Don't
Very
you all
nice.
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear
Beautiful.
that. Okay. So yeah, we're making, did you do any more work on that one?
no, I finished my big painting.
Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Does everyone see that big? I mean, there we go.
wonderful.
How about now? There we go.
That's
Isn't
incredible.
that amazing?
Well, Ron, you have a fellow hat person there.
I know. I've done a lot of hats and I'm thinking some of those would be nice on my hat ladies. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. What are you going to do with the painting?
I'm having an art show in early October.
I would enter it into the American Watercolor Society.